Hi Lindsay, thank you for joining us
Hi,
this
Jen.
afternoon. Tealium's been talking a lot about GDPR. I've seen quite a lot of news coverage about it. I've noticed that Tealium is taking a different stance on it from a lot of other companies in the industry. Why does Tealium believe that GDPR is an opportunity for building bridges with our customers?
It's a great question, and it's one that has a couple of answers. It's a negative, a positive, then a negative. I think there's the apprehension around the SLA and penalties that have been applied to the Data Protection Act and have now kind of reformed within GDPR. But then there's the opportunity for brands to really focus on how they build a trusted relationship with the consumers that are their be-all and end-all. In order for organisations to really use appropriate data that they gain from their customer base, they really need to help customers understand how that impacts them and how organisations are going to use it. I think Tealium, as an organisation, believe that this will give brands and businesses an ability to put a kite mark of trust upon their brand to say to consumers, give us your data and we will manage that data, we will store it responsibly, and we will use it in a way that benefits you as a consumer and allows you to get better goods, services from us at a more appropriate time, which basically is focused on what you want out of the brand. Our life has been spent consuming nebulous emails in your Gmail inbox.
Many of them.
We laugh about this when we talk about this a lot, Jen. I have a personal experience. My first name is Lindsay, which in many cultures is a girl's name. So I spend my life being sent gender inappropriate offers because people naturally assume at the first level that I'm a female, so I want to buy handbags. Think about the opportunities that brands are missing by getting me right at the first layer. And that's just simple gender specific data. Imagine if I was comfortable with brands consuming where I was, consuming what I was looking at, who were comfortable understanding who I was talking to in my social network, what sort of recommendations I was looking for. It really is an opportunity for marketers and organizations to grasp the moment of truth and be able to build a data flow that allows them to influence the outcome of that moment of truth.
So what do organisations gain from all of this? I hear how it's going to help consumers, and as a marketer I totally get what you're talking about. But what are organisations actually going to gain? If you walk into a boardroom, what's the conversation there? Is it because the legislation is coming you have to do it, but what's the net benefit of that opportunity?
Well, there's two issues at hand. The first issue is how are consumers going to feel about the legislation? Because we as a business and brands as a business are going to have to ask consumers at their point of entry into an organisation, when they log onto a website, when they use our application, whether or not they're comfortable giving us permission to use their personal data. So firstly, organisations are going to have to put that step in by law to make sure that the granularity of how much data that we're allowed to use upon Jen or Lindsay in our customer journey is allowed and permissive by me. If I as an organisation don't deal with that seriously, I might decide not to give you my personal data. So then I become anonymous to you as a business. Imagine how much of an impact that could have when you multiply it across your entire consumer base. Yeah. There's been some recent research done by some of our customers and also by the Institute of Marketing suggesting that permission might drop by up to 60%. Now think about it, Jen, if over half of your community gave you no permission to interact with them via any form of digital marketing.
Actually, I'd rather not, thanks.
So organisations have to, think about the community shrinking dramatically. So that means they have to think about seamless processes for people onboarding into brands and easy ways in which to build centralized permissioning. More importantly, here's the opportunity that brands have. Brands have the opportunity to make sure that the product that they're suggesting is relevant to the individual they're suggesting it to. In the 90s, we talked about the segment of one. And it was one of those great marketing campaigns that proliferated the industry, where we decided that we were going to treat every individual as an individual instead of all bald men who live south of Guildford. I'm dealt with as Lindsay instead of all bald men who live south of Guildford. And it allows organizations to deal with this section of one. Think about how some of the largest organizations on this planet, Facebook being perfectly, have made a business out of consuming huge quantities of data, building audiences that are relevant to both location, that are relevant to what they're looking at, and that build an AI computation model that allows them to understand us better than we know ourselves. Some of the data is that who would have believed that clicking on a picture of a cat falling off a table would mean that an AI bot would know me better than I know myself. But we help Facebook consume 300 million hours of data entry every day. And that allows them to build a profile that makes it extremely valuable to advertisers, that makes it extremely valuable to brands, because instead of just blasting marketing out to the marketplace, they can refine their marketing messages down to an individual layer. They can be more economical with the money that they spend. Instead of sending 4 million emails, they can send one. Yeah. And they can engage with me as if I'm standing in front of them, asking a complex dialogue about the products that I want.
So I have one last question, possibly for the people watching this video. Why is the head honcho of Tealium in EMEA talking about this? How does Tealium help with everything that you've been talking about?
Well, firstly,
some of what we've been talking about.
Firstly, I'm very passionate about this, as you can probably tell. I spend a lot of time talking about it, and it's something that both because of my nomenclature and also my industry, I'm very excited about. It would please me greatly that some of my favourite retail stores dealt with me as a gender-specific human being, as opposed to a gender-incorrect human being. But why I'm most excited to be here at Tealium and continue this journey from the last 4 years is, we really are looking at this in a different way from everybody else. We're not suggesting that you should buy some great big cloud. You said people, not pixels. Well, I would suggest customers, not clouds. And the reality of it is, I said before, there is no panacea. There is no one product that can solve all these problems just by a flick of switch. It's a big problem. It's a complex problem. It's going to take time, money, and effort to solve this problem. And I think Tealium is a vendor agnostic data supply chain at the very center of this problem. We're helping organizations capture the right data. We're helping them build centralized permissioning and privacy tools to ensure that when Lindsay McEwan logs on to www.brand.com, I have a seamless experience, and I have the right permissions and the right privacy and the right settings in my interaction with him. And then more importantly, we're allowing organizations not to have to delete the email but database, not to have to change clouds, not to have to delete all their products and start again with something that's GDPR compliant. We are the backbone, the supply chain to ensure data is being collected efficiently and correctly, that it's being moved through an organization in a secure and private manner, and that is fueling the applications in your business in a way that is commensurate to you receiving the right message at the right time for the right product when you need it.
Thank you very much, Lindsay.
You're very welcome, Jen.